the Chiefs. Over in the NFC, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell told reporters that although Aaron Jones is day-to-day with a rib injury, the team feels optimistic that the star running back will play Sunday against the Titans. And some good news in Seattle. Head coach Mike Macdonald told reporters DK Metcalf expected to practice Wednesday after missing the Seahawks' last 2 games with a knee injury. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing kit. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and 1 blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrocht, Tommy Castor alongside you, getting you ready for big college basketball showdown of Blue Bloods tonight. KU, Michigan State playing. We'll dig in there. We'll dig into a little bit of what happened on Monday Night Football, turn the page onto the next week of the NFL. Dan Israel, our Chiefs insider, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, joins us coming up at the top of the next hour. A lot to discuss with Dan, like a whole lot. All the good, some bad. How do we look forward? What are we projecting? All of these things we'll get into with the Chiefs, and we'll do that here in the first hour as well. We're taking your calls on the IHOP hotline at 869-1240. That's brought to you by IHOP, where you can celebrate the weekdays with new IHOP House Faves, all your favorite, just $6 Monday through Friday. We have those. We have 2 different giveaways to get to today. We're going to give away some tickets to Cody Jinks at Intrust Bank Arena. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, 11 days from now. You'll have a chance to get some tickets there. You'll have a chance to win some HTO. All kinds of good stuff this morning. Tommy, how are you?
Hey, it's a busy day. I'm looking forward to jumping right into it. I know that we've got, like you mentioned, a lot to talk about with Dan Israel. Want to get his thoughts, of course, on the nail biter on Sunday, some things that maybe they could do at offensive line. And I know that that's going to take up a lot of our time today because that was asked of Andy Reid yesterday. And, just that whole conversation about what are they going to do on the offensive line to try to make things better for them in the second half of the season. So I know that's been dominating the headlines the last couple of days or so. And I know it's an area we're going to spend a lot of time on today.
Yeah, it's a big topic of discussion, and one halfway through the season that I think is very relevant to the Chiefs' chances of winning a 3rd Super Bowl. Far more important than winning all 17 of the regular season games, which is still in play. We'll get into all of it. We didn't even have a chance yesterday trying to get through all the NFL and college football and college basketball. We didn't even really talk a lot about what happened in KU's upset win over Iowa State. Shout out to the KU soccer team for a conference championship. There's just a lot going on this time of year as we try to navigate it all. So we will do that. We'll hit on that KU football game, KU fans. Don't worry about that coming up in just a little bit. Man, Monday Night Football, real quick, Tommy, not a lot. It was an ugly game. It's great. These are 2 not bad teams, and you always appreciate that. They played a little bit poorly. I sort of look at all of these games through the lens now of, could this team be a threat to the Chiefs? And, Miami has too long a road to climb to even consider it. Even if they did make it, I would tell you, no, I don't think so. In the Rams, I really don't think so either. as talented as they are at running back and their 2 lead receivers, and I like Matt Stafford, it's just these rosters aren't there. So, it was an entertaining game. Wasn't a great money-making game like we'd hoped because of all the mistakes made. But no threat to the Chiefs. Just cross another one off. No issues there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rams are a team that, they're so up and down, where kind of underperforming with the talent that they've got. Kyron Williams is one of the best running backs in the league. Of course, they've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the league as well. And I think Matthew Stafford is somebody that can absolutely get the job done. He has in the past in his career, but you're right. It was mistakes. That was really what cost the Rams, and letting the Dolphins hang around and keep a lead and then extend that lead to a point to where, just the time ran out for the Rams to be able to try to come all the way back. The Dolphins, with Tua back under center, they'll win more games. There's no doubt about that. In that division, really, it's the Bills that they've got to try to, catch. And I think that they're too far behind them to be able to do that. The Jets are done. The Patriots aren't going to do anything. So it's really chasing the Bills, but I think the Bills have put too much distance between them and the Dolphins. So it is what it is for both of those teams. I think it's more disappointing for the Rams because the NFC West is kind of wide open. It's open. And they could certainly be a team that could battle and compete with the Niners and the Cardinals and even the Seahawks, who I know get DK Metcalf back this weekend. It's a wide open division, and I think the Rams had an opportunity to, really continue in that pursuit, and they were unable to do that last night.
At home, the Rams are an interesting team because they would have a chance to get there. And, it always starts with quarterback. They obviously have a quarterback that can get it done. But they're kind of the same as a lot of teams that maybe should be better that aren't, because they're not very good on the offensive line. And they got healthy and we're still not very good. So, and I do think there are a lot of teams right now that are in that same boat. I think you could put the Texans in that boat right now. I think you could put Cincinnati in that boat right now. I think the Jets, maybe to a lesser degree, you could put in there. But teams that should be doing better than they are, but they're just getting nothing on the offensive line. And I think the Rams are there too. But here is the discussion of the day with the Chiefs. Can you really get better at offensive line within a season, right? And that's really interesting. The Chiefs certainly are not in the same category as those, because the Chiefs have, the best interior offensive line in football probably. But these teams, it's amazing all of the things we look at in football, and it just still always comes down to, it begins in the trenches. Can you block? And a lot of these teams where we look at them are like, man, they should be better than they are. That's where it starts for almost all of them. They're just not very good on the line.
Have you been following the drama in Cleveland with their offensive line over the last 24 to 48 hours? So I think this is a long shot, but I read about this and I thought, man, that's intriguing and something I kind of want to follow. So Jed Wills, who was the starting left tackle for the Browns, I believe he was a first-round draft pick back in maybe 2020 for the Browns. He made a, quote, business decision. That's what he said. He made a business decision to set out a game a couple of weeks ago, didn't play in it. He had hyperextended a knee, said he probably could have gone, but he decided to basically take himself out and give himself another week. Well, he was demoted, and the Browns put another left tackle in there to start. And then Kevin Stefanski informed Wills that he would not be the starting left tackle moving forward. So in my mind, I'm like, hey, Browns, if you're going to demote him, if he's not going to start, cut him. And maybe the Chiefs can then go and pick him up. I know it's a long shot. A lot would have to happen between now and then, but there is movement on other teams with their offensive lines. And there are opportunities, I think, out there for teams to get better in that regard because of what's happening on some of these other teams that find themselves out of contention, and there's drama and, dissension in the locker room and all of this. Again, it's a long shot. I read that, though, and I was like, former first-round pick, left tackle, who was a starter, and he once out of Cleveland, and maybe there's something there. Probably not, but my point is that you can get better at offensive line over the course of a season, depending on what other teams do.
Yeah, for sure. It's wild how poorly the Chiefs have been at tackle. And everything should be on the table, right? Literally everything should be on the table. You go and you try to find tackle rankings right now in the NFL and like where guys are and where they rank. And the Chiefs don't even make the list of like the top 32. Like they don't even nobody does. Like nobody is on the list there. And so you're just like,
if they don't take the top 32, does that mean backups from other teams?
Well, there's
higher ranked than the Chiefs are.
Technically speaking, there's 2 tackles on every team, so you'd have to go to like 64.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but you're not finding them inside. I sent you something yesterday, and it's hard. Again, I know we've said it's really hard to like tangibly rank linemen based on anything but what you see. But I sent you something yesterday, and this was from somebody, and I don't even know where these come, but it's one of the metrics that rank offensive linemen. A lot of you people use PFF. Of course, it's paywalled, but a lot of people will snip this stuff out. And so yesterday, I was exploring this in the 6 o'clock sports on 12 News of like, how do we really explain this to people, how bad it's been, other than just showing them the video, which we did, of like snap after snap of Sua Mataia just getting absolutely dominated on Sunday. And you go and you look in this ranking system, Sua Mataia has allowed, think about this for a second. He has played about a quarter of the snaps of any other offensive lineman on the team. He's allowed the 4th most pressures of any of them. So like his grading, like they put it as clearly as they can. Like blues, fantastic. Green is really good. Yellow is average. Orange is bad, and red is terrible. And Sua Mataia is red in run blocking, is red in pass blocking. Wanya Morris is yellow, at least in both, orangish, right? And everybody else is like green and blue all over the board. It's just so glaring. And at that spot, we kind of put this way yesterday, and I still believe it. Like, you can't run him out there anymore. Replacement value of anybody at this point feels higher than the kind of performance he put out there on Sunday. Literally anybody. I mean, it was that bad. And it wasn't just that bad to our eyes, which of course it was. It disrupted the offense because they kept trying to have, players come over and help. And then when players came over and helped, whoever it was on, the miscommunication was there. Like if a tight end was over there, there was no communication, and the pass rusher would just come around the other side. I don't know whose fault that is. Or on a play where, and they were talking about this one in the broadcast where the running back's over there trying to help. But again, so it's either a missed block, missed assignment, miscommunication, like whatever it is. Every single play, something went wrong at left tackle when Sua Mataia was in there. Like almost every play, it was laughable. It was a joke, and they can't run their offense when that happens.
Andy Reid yesterday in his weekly media session, of course, that was one of the main topics of conversation with him. And as great as Andy Reid is, he's the king of like not giving you anything in media availability, and he's going to basically give you the same prepackaged lines and really not do a whole lot that's going to be groundbreaking or anything. But he had some comments that I felt like, and I mean this with all due respect because I love Andy Reid, but it came off to me as disingenuous. It came off to me as, okay, that there's an issue. You're just not going to share anything with the media and everybody publicly because, somebody brought up, and I don't know if it was specifically about Donovan Smith or if it was about veterans on the free agent market just in general. But the question was posed about outside help coming in at that position. And Andy Reid basically defers to Brett Veach and says, that's not my area. That's Brett Veach, which, okay, Andy, if you need a left tackle, you're going to go to Brett Veach and you're going to tell him this is what we need. And he's going to go out and get it for you. You're Andy Reid. But kind of deferring to Brett Veach on that, but saying that again, he loves the development of the young guys and that whether or not people can necessarily see it, they're getting better week by week. Those were his words, not mine. They're getting better week by week. I don't know. If you watched Kingsley Sua Mataia on Sunday, he was worse yesterday than even when he was out there starting the first 2 games, which were not good, but he was unplayable. And I think that was your word yesterday. He was unplayable on Sunday against the Broncos. So again, love Andy Reid, ton of respect for him, those comments came off as disingenuous to me.
Well, they are. He's not going to give people anything. Never. Historically, never will. It doesn't feel bad about it. You just got to kind of know that. I do think with two young players, a second year and a first year player, there is a world where the coaches could see good things happening in practice. Like I can even whether it's true or not, I could see that being a possibility. Doesn't matter on a Sunday. Like you can't. Okay, great. I'm glad they're getting better in practice. I'm glad they're developing. I'm glad you liked it, but they're not. You can't play them. You're either going to at worst going to get Patrick Mahomes hurt, and in the middle somewhere they'll cost you a game, right? And then the Chiefs are 9-0 with them. So there's that side of it too. Like they've been able to survive it, but they've been able to survive it now. It's becoming more and more glaring. Like if Kingsley Suamataia started a playoff game against a really good team, I'm not sure I would say the Chiefs are going to win that game. The Bills will be an interesting test on Sunday. The Bills have the 12th best pass rush as far as sacks go. They have the 12th most sacks in football this year. Not quite as high as the Broncos, not quite as, potent an overall unit as the Broncos. I don't think they have some dynamic, edge rusher like the Chiefs have struggled with.
Matt Milano's not going to play, and that's a huge blow, I think, to the Bills.
But they are a team that can create pressure in general. And so that's a good test. The Chiefs are not favorites in that game, and it's on the road. I get it, but that's a good test. Wanya Morris has been good enough. I would have, and we talked about this just a little bit yesterday. Like if it's Wanya Morris the rest of the way, I'm probably okay. I do think it can get better, but I'm okay.
I mean, because I didn't think that's giving him too much credit. I think that he's been serviceable, and I think that he's got the benefit of playing ahead of Kingsley Suamataia.
Correct.
So to that point I made yesterday, it seems like a big step up, a big step forward when you go to Morris. I mean, it is, but it's not like Morris is good, right? Like it's still not good. In retrospect, and I've been thinking about this a lot, in retrospect, I wonder if there should have been more aggressiveness in the offseason to re-sign a veteran to at least have the depth to have a roster spot for somebody at that position, Donovan Smith or otherwise, just because of what we're seeing now. I had questioned going into the season because remember it was that the question about who was going to start between the two. I remember posing the question, maybe it should be neither of them, and they should probably go and try to, at least get somebody else and let these two guys, especially Suamataia, grow if they want him to be the future starter at left tackle. The other point too, and I think the Broncos did this, the Bills will certainly do this. Other teams down the road for sure will, as long as that left tackle, continues to be an issue for Kansas City. It doesn't really matter how great the interior offensive line is because defenses will adjust and neutralize where the strength is on the line for Kansas City and do everything that they can to pour, their personnel on the weak spot. I mean, that's exactly what, they'll do is they'll try to exploit the weak spot and try to, maybe not do as much with the interior offensive line. The thing about the Broncos, while, they may not have had like this top tier pass rusher, they didn't really need to blitz. It was just standard pressure that they were able to get through. And I think that that's going to be obviously something that the Bills will try to employ also.
Yeah, and that's going to be the greatest threat to the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that right now. That will be their biggest challenge and threat. So let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll look at what's out there, what can you do, and also at the challenges of trying to solve this, because this isn't just a this year problem. They have thrown the kitchen sink at this position post Eric Fisher, and nothing has really worked. And this is the worst of it, what we saw on Sunday, I think. But it's never been fantastic. It's always been average at best. So we'll go back, we'll look at historically who they've been running out there since Fisher, since that Super Bowl loss, essentially when this hole became, apparent in every defense in football. I mean, the path is what it is. It's pretty obvious when you play the Chiefs. You just, you take advantage of that position and try and do other things without blitzing. But we'll come back. We'll talk about that. We'll have Dan Israel coming top of the hour. We'll also get into KU football this hour too, but we'll continue this discussion. Your comments on it, your suggestions on what the Chiefs can do are welcome on the IHOP hotline at 869-1240. You can also leave us your comments on our video stream, of course, on 12 News Connected, Facebook, YouTube, X, all open for you. It's all Brockton Caster at Sports Daily on a Tuesday. Don't go away.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
You want to win some tickets to Cody Jinks and his Change the Game tour coming to Intrust Bank Arena Saturday, November 23rd. Special guest Jason Boland and the Stragglers. Great old school band from this genre and a great up-and-comer. To win 2 tickets, text CODY, C-O-D-Y, to the short code 20357. Message and data rates apply. Text CODY, C-O-D-Y, to the short code 20357 for your chance to win. Good luck, everybody. Welcome back into Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here. I like Cody Jinks. Has a couple of songs. One that is one of my favorites of the last probably 10 years. Jason Boland and the Stragglers. I haven't seen them in a long time. They used to come through the local bar scene back in the Texas Panhandle a long time ago. It's been a while, but they're good too. It'll be a good show at Interest.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. I don't know that genre as well as you do, but I'm even familiar with Jason Boland and the Stragglers. So that'll be
good. You can win a pair of tickets on us. Good luck, everybody. All right, left tackle, Tommy. Since Eric Fisher, he had the year of Cam Irving when Fisher got hurt, so we won't count that. But since 2020, Orlando Brown Jr. was the first swing. They gave a lot for Orlando Brown Jr. They tried to sign him away from the Ravens, right, where he's a right tackle, make him a left tackle. He was okay. He was league average by most metrics and ratings and everything else, but he wanted to be paid like top left tackle. And after they gave everything up they gave to get him, and the Chiefs weren't willing to do that, he's now on to the Bengals, and he's doing fine. He's doing the same job he did basically for the Chiefs, about middle of the pack. Then they go and they pay a ton of money for Jawan Taylor, who has never played a snap at left tackle. Now, for the life of me, I can't figure out why that is. They also brought in Donovan Smith, which was a very savvy signing last year. He's an older player. He's still on the street, by the way, and Andy Reid was asked about him specifically in that question about the position yesterday, in which he diverted to Brett Veach. But Jawan Taylor, big swing and a miss, right? When you consider the fact that he hasn't been a great right tackle, he's paid like one of the league's best left tackles, and he's never played a snap at left tackle. Okay. Donovan Smith was a fine answer last year. Again, not great, but okay. And I would say, I'd have to go back and look, and maybe that's not as hard to do as I think it is. I feel like Donovan Smith last year is kind of like and kind of equivalent, I guess, to Wanya Morris this year. And I'd have to find, and I need to get a PFF subscription, I guess. But I feel like he was average, maybe a little below average last year. And I feel like that's about where Wanya Morris is. You could bring him back as depth piece. Like I'm totally on board with that. For some reason, he's still sitting there. I don't know why that is. That could have something to do with it. But it can't be Kingsley Suamataia. Can't be. It just can't be.
Yeah, it just can't.
And that's a second-round pick they traded up for, Tommy. So
yeah, but again, I'll keep going back to this. Like I'm going to cut Suamataia a little bit of slack. I'm just going to, because there should be developmental time. Even if you are a second-round draft pick, there should be developmental time in allowing this guy to get acclimated to the league. And, he's thrown out there in week number 1 against the Baltimore Ravens as the starter. He beat out Wanya Morris. Then he's put back out there in week number 2 against the Bengals as the starter. And then all of a sudden it's like, what did we do? This is a mistake. He's not ready. And so I feel sorry for him a little bit, because there should be some ramp up time, probably more so than just OTAs and preseason and training camp, all of that. I would like to, I think that he's got some potential. Now, will he be the starter at any point for the Chiefs in a year or two or however long? I mean, probably not. I don't know. He hasn't impressed me at all in that regard, but could he be a depth piece on the team? Sure. I think so. I just think that he needs some developmental time to get to that point, as opposed to just being thrown out there as the starter in week number 1. And then you're pressed into having him go back out there when Wanya Morris has a knee injury. And so I was of the belief that they should have done something else, I think, going into this season, at least providing some more security and some depth. And there are other free agent left tackles that are out there right now outside of Donovan Smith. A couple of them are coming off of major injuries that, you don't know if they're fully healthy. David Bakhtiari is a big name that is out there on the street coming off of a couple of major injuries over the last few years. So who knows if he's even ready to play in a game, or will he ever play in a game again? I have no idea. There's a couple of other names that are out there, but I mean, regardless, they've got to do something, because I agree with you. I mean, I'm not saying that Sua Matthias should be playing. What I'm saying is that I feel bad for him because I don't think he was given an opportunity to develop in the league.
You're right. Like he hasn't been given the opportunity. He's just a rookie, and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. Right? I'm okay with him being a rookie, but that doesn't change the reality that
it doesn't change the reality.
They can't run him out there. Right.
It is what it is. I mean, we're in this position. It's hindsight is 2020. I just wish they would have been a little bit more forward thinking on this, with the thought of, hey, look, he's a rookie. Maybe we ought to have some kind of plan or something.
Rookie tackles acclimate pretty quickly. And I think the thought was, we really like Wanya Morris, and we obviously like Kingsley Suamataia. By the middle of the season, if we got to go to Kingsley, he'll be ready. Rookie tackles are good in this league all the time. He has not been. And Wanya Morris has been, slightly below average. Think about this. Okay, since Fisher and since the Chiefs tried to solve this problem, do you remember what they traded for Orlando Brown? Here's what Kansas City traded to get Orlando Brown. They traded a first-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a fifth-round pick. Now, they also got a second back, so keep that in mind, to get Orlando Brown, right? And then watch him walk away a couple years later because he wasn't good enough. They felt like to be paid like that kind of left tackle.
And that was also reactionary, if you'll remember. I mean, it was off the heels of their offensive line getting drubbed in the Super Bowl by the Buccaneers. And so it was 2 months later that they go out and they make a huge trade to bring in Orlando Brown. It was reactionary. That was, I think, we've talked about Brett Veach's MO before. We've talked about the way he likes to operate. I think that was something that was counter to the way that Brett Veach usually likes to operate. He wants to be proactive. He wants to get out ahead of things. Not reactionary, where you see just an absolute glaring issue and then he's forced into going and giving up a bunch of assets to bring in somebody else like Orlando Brown. I think he'd rather be on the front end of that. That's why it was surprising to me that this wasn't addressed at a larger scale in the offseason, because now if they are going to do anything, it will largely be because of what the first 9 weeks of the year have looked like. He's going to be reactionary in that regard.
They moved up one pick to take Kingsley. So he's a second round pick, and then they did a bunch of pick swaps. So essentially now you've had a ton of money, a first, a second, a third, a fourth, and some swaps to try and solve. That is those are the types of resources they've thrown at left tackle and not been able to solve the problem. There's been a lot of talk about how many misses they've had early with wide receivers. If you go back all the way to, McCole Hardman and, whatever you think about Worthy. And I would say, though, that remember Rashee Rice was an early wide receiver. So but left tackle, man, they just can't get it to stick. I don't know why Jawan Taylor sliding over there is not an option. I can't figure that out. And I know he's got his problems. It's got to be something where he just doesn't think he can, I guess, because that's what they brought him here to do. So, I mean, you just hope for good health for Wanya Morris and see what's out there. I would bet you this, Tommy, after what we saw on Sunday, the Chiefs are going to do something at the position. I don't think they're going to just keep rolling out there with a nicked up Wanya Morris and Kingsley Suamataia. And I don't know how quickly it'll happen. I would guess quickly. I would bet you $1. I'd probably want, plus 150 odds on that before the end of next week, the Chiefs have another left tackle in the room.
Here's the other thing that we are neglecting to talk about. It's one thing if it's Andy Reid and Brett Veach having these conversations about a veteran, whether it's Donovan Smith or who, by the way, had a social media post over the weekend where he posted a GIF or a GIF, whatever the kids are calling it these days. Somebody tweeted him like, "Hey, are you still available?" And it was just a shrug, just kind of a, "I'm here." He didn't say anything. That's all it was, but he's available. So whether it's Donovan Smith or somebody else, Lucas Niang off the practice squad, whoever it is, we can talk about Brett Veach and Andy Reid all we want. You know who else has quite a bit of pull? Patrick Mahomes has a ton of pull. And this is the position that protects him the most, right?
He was mad on Sunday.
He was absolutely furious. And he should be, right? Like he is the franchise player. He is the most important player on the team, the most important player in the league. And they're throwing out there a rookie and a second-year guy in Wanya Morris to protect him. And they've been terrible. They've been absolutely terrible. And so is Donovan Smith this outstanding left tackle? No, he was just good enough a year ago to get the job done and prevent left tackle from being a major issue last season. I have no idea if he's lost a step. I have no idea the amount of time it will take to get him up to game speed. And honestly, I don't care if it's Smith or somebody else. They've got to do something, though. And I would imagine that regardless of what happens with Veach and Reid or whatever, I'm sure Mahomes has made his voice heard also in regards to what they need to do at that position.
So Brett Veach should be the most concerned that Patrick Mahomes is in danger, right,
100%.
in these games. I don't think Patrick Mahomes' biggest gripe is they can't run the offense they need to run.
Right.
And so, yeah, but Patrick Mahomes also understands, like, you can only do what you can do, right? It's hard to trade for these players. Like you mentioned the Browns player, he'd have to get cut, clear waivers, and then make it to, like, it's not going to happen. And so you have to basically either do something internally. Two things have been proposed by the media, which is slide Joe Thuney out to tackle, right? And Andy Reid said he's never considered doing that, even though I believe Thuney has done that in his career before, or Donovan Smith because of the familiarity. And I don't care what they do. Again, I would bet you $1 that before the end of the week they do something. At the end of next week they do something. Because you just it's pretty simple. And we'll ask Dan Israel this in about 20 minutes. Like, you cannot put Sua Mataia out there for meaningful snaps and expect good things to happen. It's not going to at this point. Will it 2 years from now? Maybe. But I'm not worried about 2 years from now. I'm worried about Sunday against the Bills. I'm worried about the Chiefs trying to win a third straight Super Bowl. And right now, he's not good enough. And he will cost them a game in the playoffs if he is the starting left tackle. Because that you just can't count on continuing to get, in a lot of ways, lucky. And I know it's luck that they're generating. So lucky is not the right word, but you just can't count on the ball bouncing your way as much as it has through this 9-0 start.
I think you got to take it a step further, though, too. And this isn't a pile-on session just overall with left tackle. But, yeah, we can focus on Sua Mataia because you're absolutely right. The guy is unplayable. Wanya Morris, I believe, will also cost them a game at some point. Do you remember the games throughout the season? I can remember 2, I think, specifically, where there were like crucial, I think, back-to-back holding calls on Wanya Morris late in the game. Now, ultimately, the Chiefs won those games, but had they not, the conversation, even in week 4, week 5, whenever it was, would have been Wanya Morris cost us the game. And so it's not just Sua Mataia. And I want to be clear about this. We can talk all day long about, Morris, has been able to step in and handle it. I guess he has, but he gets the benefit of playing ahead of a guy who's unplayable.
Right.
It doesn't automatically mean that Wanya Morris is the answer to the question and being able to, even if he is healthy, even if he, wasn't dinged up, I don't think he's the answer to the question either right now. I don't think it's either one of those guys. By and large, can Morris, I guess, get the job done? Maybe, but there will be crucial situations. There already have been this season where Morris has cost them. And fortunately for the Chiefs, they've been able to pull wins out. I think you've got to look at it in a larger view and not just Sua Mataia is unplayable. It's both of them.
I agree with that. I think, again, the comparison is, you're not comparing Morris to the best, that you're comparing him to maybe the worst left tackle in football.
100%.
But
he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt because he's playing.
No, he doesn't. But he doesn't. And here's the reality now that maybe makes it easier. He isn't healthy. Okay. Right. So it doesn't matter anyway. He's not healthy. And there is a decent chance to a good chance he's going to have to come out in games, and then you're stuck with what we saw last week. We'll ask Dan Israel about this coming up in about 20 minutes. When we come back, though, let's get to KU football, that win over Iowa State. I think when we talk about KU football now, there's two things happening. For KU fans, it's can they make a bowl game and win all these games? For K-State fans and everybody else, it's can they beat Colorado? Right? I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to here. So we'll talk about that win, what it means next. 869-1240 is the IHOP hotline. We will come back. We've got more to give away later in the show, so keep it here for your opportunities to win some HTO. Dan Israel coming up. Talk a little more about this with left tackle and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's top of the hour. It's Albrecht and Caster on Sports Daily. Don't go away.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch. 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All at Crestview Country Club is still very busy. Of course, the weather we've had the last couple of days means great golf continues. My wife is playing tennis. Some might say too much tennis, but a lot of tennis, we'll put it that way. And then, of course, there's all the other fun stuff that doesn't have anything to do with any of that, but the great restaurant. They have Thanksgiving brunch, which is very popular. They do a big New Year's event. You can take Thanksgiving home from Crestview. There's all kinds of stuff, and they have a kids club if you just want a night out. All of that stuff available in memberships that just include that stuff. So give Crestview a call, tell them we sent you from Sports Daily. All right, Tommy, let's talk KU football now. Since we didn't get a chance yesterday, we'll go and talk KU basketball tonight in the second hour. But win over Iowa State. Look, I thought they were going to win this game. I thought it would be a hotter take than it was. Then they ended up only being 2.5-point dogs. So I guess it wasn't that hot of a take. It looked like they were going to dominate this game. And then the same old KU shows up. They almost let it go, just like they have in, well, almost every game this year. But they do hang on. They do get the job done. I got to tell you, I think being able to get the job done probably means more to this team than it might in normal circumstances. They finally closed one out, Tommy, in a game like this. And it almost seemed impossible that they could blow it. And yet it was like, are you kidding me? Like, this can't be a real thing, but they got it done. And I think that has lasting effects. I think it can anyway.
I think that there's a real scenario where their record currently at 3-6, you could flip flop those wins and losses.
Absolutely.
And they could easily be 6-3 or, maybe even better than that because it's all been the fourth quarter. It's all been the way that they close out games. It was that way against Iowa State on Saturday. The fortunate thing for the Jayhawks was that they had built up such a lead that while it seemed insurmountable, I mean, Iowa State did everything that they could possibly do. I mean, it was a valiant effort from Matt Campbell's crew to get back in the game. And at one point, I mean, you and I were texting back and forth. I'm like, they're going to lose this game. And you just get bitten so many times that you start to become fearful of that, of all of that when, all of a sudden Iowa State, they made it a 1-possession game at one point, right? Like, wasn't it an 8-point lead for the Jayhawks, I think, right before the pick six that Mello Dotson had to really kind of seal the deal. It was fortunate that they were able to pull it off because that's been their Achilles heel all season long. My hope is that you finally held a team off in the fourth quarter. You finally were able to check that win column.
Even though you allowed them to score 16
points in the fourth quarter. The hope is that they can use that to propel them in the final 3 games.
It was a balanced attack. The offense was fantastic. The defense still sucks. I don't know why that happened to them, but it has. But, now the offense is where we thought it would be. And it's been enough in that game. You look at the game this weekend against BYU now. It doesn't really mean all that much anymore, but Kansas is only a 3-point dog in that game on the road, if that tells you anything. And I think that's accurate, right? I think that's fair. I don't know that I'm going to take Kansas this week just because it's that nighttime road game out there. But I do think it's very fair. I think it's a very fair line based on how good teams are. And so, for KU, you got to win them all. I absolutely think that's on the table. I think that they can. I think that it's possible. Will they?
There's a major difference between can they and will they. I think they absolutely can.
It's probably I'll give them about a 40% chance to do that.
I was going to go a little bit less. I think that I'm looking more like 35% chance.
Well, I get which is the bigger challenge, going and playing in Provo or hosting Colorado. I think hosting Colorado is actually the bigger challenge, because the way their defense is played, like the thought of KU's defense stopping Colorado is troubling to think about right now. It's basically, can they keep up in a track meet? And look, yeah, I think they can. Because they did against Iowa State, who's probably better defensively than Colorado is. So here we go. And for everything that we care about around here, and K-State's got to handle their business. I get it. But like everything focuses in on that Colorado game. Everything. If we want a team in the playoff, if we want a team in it all comes down to KU and can they beat Colorado, because it just is very unlikely to me that Colorado loses to either Utah or Oklahoma State at home. That's the reality of this thing.
I think before Saturday's game, I probably would have said that I thought the BYU game in Provo was a more daunting task for the Jayhawks than playing Colorado at home.
I don't think so.
Remember, BYU almost lost on Saturday to Utah. And they did not play well. And there was controversy at the end of that game. And Utah controlled that game for the majority of it. BYU found a way to win. That's what they've done all season long. But I think it shows me that even though BYU is still undefeated, they are vulnerable. Now at home at night in Provo, that's a little bit different. But I actually would agree with you now that I think that the more daunting task for Kansas will be playing Colorado at home than going out to BYU this weekend.
BYU beat Utah by a point. They beat Oklahoma State at home by 3. They beat Baylor by 6. Like they're
Kansas State at home. I mean, like they're a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Yeah, they crushed K-State in one of the honestly probably the strangest college football game I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, but good win for KU. Just keep playing well. It's on the table. Look, bowl game's on the table, very much so. These games, that game against Colorado, that's not going to be more than a 3-4 point spread. I don't think. I don't think it will be. If it on the road at BYU's only 3, then that's that's what we're going to be looking like with that one. All right. The video streams are open for your comments, your questions for Dan Israel. We've got some comments there that we'll get into in the second hour. Rick, Ken checking in. We'll check in on KU basketball tonight in the second hour. But when we come back, it's our Chiefs insider, Dan Israel. If you have a question for him, you can leave those on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, and we will get those to Dan. We will certainly talk about this wacky and crazy 9-0 start, including a blocked field goal for a win, but also the challenges that have come that we've spent some time with over the last couple of days at left tackle. We'll get into all of it. That IHOP hotline will be open after that in the second hour. We'll give away some HTO in the second hour. So keep it here. Dan Israel next on Sports Daily. It's Albrecht and Caster on a Tuesday.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Kester.
Caught! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, we have you covered. Joining Sports Daily Live, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, Dan Israel.
And welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2, and we are glad to be joined by Dan Israel because, Dan, we have spent now a large part of 2 days with the sky falling at left tackle while the Chiefs are 9-0 and block a field goal to win another game. Let's start with the good. I can't remember, maybe you can, a team anywhere at any point that in a 9-0 start has won more close games in like the wackiest ways than the Chiefs have this year. It's been wild.
It has, and you know, these 1-pointers. I do remember the season with Herm Edwards that we went 2-14. We lost, I think it was 6 games by a combined total of 8 points. That was crazy. But we're picking the other side of that this time, man. I don't know, guys. You can't flip a coin and have it land on heads 9 times in a row. It just can't. There's got to be some skill to this somewhere.
You know, what's funny, Dan, is watching the fourth quarter of the game, and I'm sure that, you know, you guys in the booth were feeling the same way. You have just what seemed like a big time mental error from Harrison Butker. And then all of a sudden you have a blocked field goal. So it was like Dave Tobe, I'm sure, had just a swing of emotions in the matter of 15 minutes or so, from what Butker did to the way that they blocked the field goal to win the game.
Yeah, I talked to Tobe after the game, and basically he said, 3,599 seconds wasn't enough. We needed 3,600 seconds. I said, yes, you did. But I thought, I don't know if they were trying, Tommy, to do, to force a return there. And that's because Butker's kickoff just was not Butker. And so they've been kicking that thing through the end zone for the past 6 games. I don't know what changed there, whether it was truly just a mental mistake on Butker's part, whether the field played some of that, because the field was pretty beat up after hosting KU the night before, and the physicality that was taking place in our game. But I think it's amazing to watch these guys, how when one guy makes a mistake, they go over, pat him on the back and say, I got your back, and we're going to come out and we're going to fix this. And Leo Chenal did just that.
All right. So there's the good. Let's get to the bad. Dan, to me, Kingsley Suamataia is unplayable right now. It's as bad to my untrained, offensive line scouting eye as I've ever seen. Every single play. They can't run him out there anymore. And if Wanya Morris is hurt, can they? Am I overreacting to that? Because their offense can't operate. Mahomes is in danger, and he's not even close. And that, I know the Broncos have a good pass rush in totality, but that's not one of these elite edge rushers we're talking about here on Sunday. No,
I agree. And I think you saw the team agree with that when Wanya came back in late in the game, It's disappointing because Kingsley was supposed to be, ready to go. And anytime you have a high draft pick like that, you expect him to at least get some playing time on the field. And here, you have an injury. He comes in. Granted, he wasn't part of the first half of that game, so he's coming in cold. But that's the role, and you got to be prepared, and you got to be studied, and you got to be ready. And there were a couple times where he just flat got beat. That little kick step that tackles do to get out and make sure you're taking your guy out. You can take him deep, but you got to take him away from the quarterback. That was not happening. And so, it's disappointing. And I think, Wanya's injury aside, I mean, it was fortunate he was able to come back in the game, but you got to have something. You got to be ready to go there. And then I felt like to some degree Taylor on the other side was struggling too. So, I would suspect that as coach is preparing his plays on his whiteboard and in the beautiful mind fashion that he does that, I would suspect he's trying to figure out how to move Mahomes around a little bit in the pocket to help those guys, because either that or you're going to have to put a tight end out there to help block, and one or the other, because Kingsley struggled and Wanya wasn't exactly having his best game before he got injured.
Yeah, I thought about this a lot, Dan, and we talked about this in the first hour that, I actually, and I don't know how much grace you give him. I give Kingsley some grace here because, he is a high draft pick, but also I'm sure that there's probably a developmental process that in an ideal situation, you'd be easing him in maybe, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but, he definitely was thrown out there as the starter in the first couple of weeks. Very quickly, I think everybody realized he's not ready in that role. And then just by necessity, he has to be put in there. And then on top of it too, like you mentioned, Wanya Morris wasn't having his best game. And I think that maybe he gets a little bit of the benefit because he's playing in front of somebody who's played so poorly. It's not like Wanya's been doing great either. So I cut Kingsley a little bit of slack just because of that. And I do understand that thought of like, hey, we drafted you high, you got to be ready to go. I just wish they maybe would have given him a little bit more time to develop along before just throwing him into that role.
Well, I think that's what they'd like as well. But you nailed the two schools of thought, right? Which is, one, neither Kingsley or Wanya have had a huge number of starts. I think Wanya's maybe had his 9 or 10 starts in the National Football League. That's not a lot of experience. Not when you're going up against guys like, if you go back to Will Shields and in the days of John Alt and those guys, 10 starts, they were not good in their first 10 games. And so to that one school of thought, you have to give in and say, look, it's just going to take time, and that's all there is to it. But then there's the other school of thought, which is this is the National Football League, and you got to arrive on schedule, man. You don't get to pick your time how quick you can learn. You got to learn as quick as humanly possible, and you got to go out there and perform at a high level every time, all the time. And while that's probably, to be honest with you guys, a waning work ethic in the National Football League, it's a waning work ethic right in humanity right now. This is just where we're at with these generations where people are striving for work-life balance. The National Football League is no different than that.
Look, it's not. Here's the lens, though. I think, Dan, we have to look at everything. I know the Chiefs are 9-0. It's a fantastic story. And yes, 17-0 is in play. But for me, and I think for the Chiefs and everybody else, it's all about winning a third Super Bowl. If Kingsley Suamataia had to start a game in the playoffs, I don't know that I would say the Chiefs are going to win that game against an elite NFL team, against a good NFL team in a postseason environment. Like what we saw on Sunday against the Broncos, no offense to the Broncos, you can't, that's not going to work in the postseason. So I would ask you this then. What can they do? Who else is on the roster? Who else is on the practice squad? We know Juwan Taylor's not moving from the right side, even though he's being paid like a left tackle. Is Donovan Smith really an option? He's just sitting there. They can't make a trade anymore. Players aren't going to clear waivers if they're cut to make it all the way to the Chiefs. So who, I guess, can they turn to try to do anything to create more depth there?
Well, I think it'll be, to some degree, the play calling and the play design, because you're right. There's nothing they can do. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we saw that in Super Bowl 55 where, without tackles, Mahomes is scrambling for his life, and we don't want that again. And again, you said it, Jacob, we go into the playoffs. We're not going to be playing 5-5 Denver Bronco teams. We're not going to be playing 500 ball teams. You're going to be playing really good football teams that most likely have at least one edge rusher, if not two. And so I think that the kind of goal number one has to be for Andy Heck to get these guys ready by January. I just think that you're going to see them push and push and push to learn, to get better, to get physically stronger. And then I think they'll augment that with some play design to say, hey, look, we're going to give you a little bit of help, but we're not going to come in there and do your job for you. I mean, we're not going to leave, Travis Kelce on the line blocking so that you don't have to. I don't think you'll see that, but I do think you might see some more tight end chipping, tackle eligibles and those type of plays. But ultimately it comes down to they have to learn and get better. They have to get physically stronger and mentally more mature with that position. And again, to Tommy's point, they don't have a lot of starts here, but this is the state of what we're at. And the one thing we've seen out of these Chiefs is they figure out a way to make it work. And so I kind of just have to rely on the trust of Coach Heck, which is Andy Heck is a great offensive line coach. I don't think he gets near enough credit. I mean, he is working with, as Potter's Clay goes, he's not working with elite guys here that are taken in the top 10 picks of the draft. He's working with what we can get down at that bottom of that round of the first round or the second round. And so I really think that he's a great coach. And I think that it's just going to take a little more time, but time runs out, the clock runs out end of December. This is all there is to it.
Dan, what'd you make of the couple of passes from Mahomes that he missed that could have ended up being extremely crucial had the Chiefs not won that game? The one to Xavier Worthy that he led him too far and the pass went out of bounds, and then the one where he sailed it too high to Travis Kelce in the fourth quarter over his head in the back of the end zone.
Well, nobody has admitted this, and this is completely 100% my observation of Patrick Mahomes in the locker room after the game. But I felt like he looked like he wasn't feeling well. His eyes were a little droopy, and I just wonder if he wasn't battling something. Not trying to give him excuses because he didn't take that. The team hasn't taken that. But when I looked at him, he didn't quite look like the normally bubbly Patrick Mahomes. So I think that could have been in play. I think also he's struggling to figure out how to get DeAndre Hopkins and Kelce both the ball here. And it's just going to take some time for him to kind of learn how Hopkins is going to play, like he knows how Kelce's going to play. He and Kelce are on this same page most of the time because they've been around each other for so long. That doesn't exist yet with DeAndre Hopkins. And so I feel like it's a little bit of that. The ball he threw, I think, in the back of the end zone that was high, he said floated on him a little bit. His feet weren't set there. And I don't know that he could have gotten his feet set there, but Kelce took credit or took blame, saying, I didn't have my feet under me, or I could have gone up and gotten the ball for Pat. But I just felt like he was a little impatient. Mahomes, I'm speaking of, was a little impatient throwing the ball. And when you do that, it tends to be a little bit more zip on it because you're trying to rush everything. And that was my take on it. And look, could that be because of the discussion we just had at left tackle? Yeah, absolutely.
So here's my prediction for you, Dan. If they don't do anything, if they don't bring anybody else in, they've run the ball a lot, but Pacheco's coming back pretty soon. Like, I think we may see the Chiefs run it 30, 35 times a game. I don't know that's the other answer, because they have the best, while they have bad tackle play, they have the best interior line in football, and they're about to have two horses back there that can run it. I mean, you can do that too, but the problem with that thought is the Broncos created the rush without a blitz. And so that doesn't really help you there, does it? Like, that's the only problem there. But I mean, is their defense still playing good enough, do you think, to be able to play that brand of football? It's not been quite as strong as it was early in the year, but is that a solution, to just run the ball 35, 40 times a game?
I think it is, but I'd start with this comment, which is I believe that the Denver Broncos were just playing faster and more physical than we were. And it took us 2 quarters to kind of come up to speed on that. And then we're making all kinds of adjustments at halftime and still trying to get the energy up. So I think it was a mistake on the Chiefs' part by not being physically ready to get hit in the mouth. And so they got knocked to the mat, and it felt weird for a minute. Now, having said all that, I fully believe that Coach Reed, when we get Pacheco back, there's going to be plays where on the right side of Mahomes is going to be Kareem Hunt, and on the left side of Mahomes is going to be Isaiah Pacheco. That's going to be a dangerous thing, man. I don't know how you defend something like that when both those guys can catch, because Hunt can go to the flat. He could run up the middle. I mean, both of them.
He can block an edge rusher. He can't. I mean, he's as big as they are.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, but I do think, look, the running game works, man. Just do the old Nebraska 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard, actually. You talk about the return of Pacheco. It would be hard to replace Kareem Hunt right now. He is such a hot hand. And if there's anything I learned from 1997, the Rich Gannon, Elvis Gerbach days, stick with the one who's getting it done. And I know what that says for Isaiah Pacheco. I feel bad for that, but guys lose their starting roles in the National Football League all the time to injury. And this is just one of those situations where I'd love to see them both on the field, but you got to go with Kareem Hunt, and you got to go with the run game. The run game is working. For the most part, the run game is working. In fact, some of the drive stalls because we were trying to get cute, right?
Yeah, and it's not just Pacheco who sounds like he's pretty close to being back. Andy Reid said yesterday that Juju Smith-Schuster is close to returning. Charles Omenihu also on the defensive side, Dan, really outside of George Karlaftis, the Chiefs' own pass rush really has been largely ineffective, again, outside of Karlaftis. Bringing in Omenihu and if he's fully healthy, being able to have him in that lineup, should, I would think, at least on paper, improve the pass rush for Kansas City. I know that they traded for Josh Uche as well. Where do you stand on sort of getting all of the horses back and ready to go with that pass rush defensively for Kansas City?
Yeah, I think that offensively, Mahomes has really just had to adjust almost to a different personnel group every single game. Maybe he's had two. The last 2 weeks have been the most consistent that it's been. But I think as these guys start to recover from injury, there's going to be a lot of opportunity left. Uche, Omena, getting back Mike Dana was huge. And so I feel like, when Omenihu comes back, you've got basically 3-4 edge rushers that you can spell, because one of the things you see in the locker room after the game is, look, this was a huge last 1 second on the clock win, exciting drama. Guys were going crazy in the locker room. You had about half of them sitting on their bench, on their stool in front of their locker, just trying to catch their breath. That's how exhausted they were. So I think getting some of this talent back not only gives you back the ability to spell guys, but also every guy does it a little different, right? Uche doesn't rush the edge like Omenihu. Karlaftis doesn't rush the edge like Uche. So I think it's going to be kind of a 1-2 punch for opponents who play the Chiefs defense as these guys get healthy. And again, the more solid the linebacker play, the more you really because look at I would say remaining is the Ravens still scare me, right? How are you going to stop the Ravens? You've got to be built to stop them if you're going to go deep in the playoffs. And so to me, the only way you're going to do that is to have good, solid run stop and a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
And the other team to watch is the Bills, of course, and that's who they play this week. Well, they're vulnerable at tackle. So this probably is a good, precursor or a good idea of what a playoff game might look like. I want to ask you another question, Dan, and we can go back to the block kick sort of for this one. The 2022 Chiefs draft class. It's got to be considered, if not the best, one of. It takes Sky Moore out of it, but you're talking about McDuffie, Karlaftis, Cook, Chenal, Isaiah Pacheco was in that class, Najee Johnson was in that class, Josh Williams was in that class. That's an unbelievable draft when you look at the contributions that those players are making right now.
Yeah,
best ever. It's got to be.
The fact that we know their names. And the reason we know their names is they're getting play called. It's been phenomenal to watch these guys. And I think that puts pressure too, like on, Kingsley Suamatia and even Wanye and, guys coming in to learn quickly, because we've had so many guys. McDuffie's been playing great since he hit the field. And you could say that about half the names, if not all the names. Leo Chenal, obviously, he doesn't get the start necessarily. You can't count him as a starting guy, but he's getting enough play. And look, he's the guy that made the blocks in the Super Bowl to really keep the Chiefs in the game. So these guys are contributing at a very high level. You could make an argument that without Leo Chenal, we might not have won last year's Super Bowl. So it certainly wouldn't have, certainly wouldn't have won, on Sunday. So you're right. I think it's amazing the job Veach has done. And I know we give him credit all the time for it, but it's not just acquiring the talent. I think the scouting department does a great job at determining who is good talent and who isn't. But then you've got to develop that talent, and that relies on the position coaches, that relies on the flow of communication from the head, which is Andy Reid, on down, and the Chiefs are just so very good at it. And that kind of is what makes this tackle situation stand out, right?
Yep. That's why I bring that up. Like, for all the heat the Chiefs will take for how many resources they've tried to expend at left tackle and wide receiver, they get everything else right to a degree that's not fair, I think, sometimes to the rest of the league. So I wanted to balance that out there. Dan, it's a big one Sunday against the Bills, game of the week. You guys have anything special for us on the network?
You know, we're actually this window, this noon kickoff stuff is crazy. I said, is this the first noon game we've had last week? And it was. I was so caught off guard by that window and how our ability to broadcast is so different that I was glad to kind of get back to an afternoon window. So don't have anything yet, but hoping to have something.
Don't need much because the game will take care of most of it. It's going to be fantastic. These games always are between these two teams. Can't wait for it. Dan will have a lot to talk about, I'm sure, next week. We'll see if we can get some left tackle play. Maybe it won't be the lead in.
I don't care how we get to 10-0 as long as we get there, right?
That's right. All right, Dan. Thank you. Dan Israel,
Thanks,
executive
guys.
producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, joining us as he does each Tuesday. Always appreciate his visits. Tommy, that 2022 class is just absolutely absurd. Like, Darian Kennard has been a non-factor, and essentially every other player taken in the draft, there were 9 others, have played significant snaps. Not all well, Sky Moore, but have played significant snaps and roles for this team. That does not happen.
That's what you have to have when you are paying the big three, what you're paying them, right?
Yeah.
You've got to draft well.
Wild.
That's how you build your team.
Wild stuff. All right, 869-1240. We're going to switch gears. We'll talk a little KU hoops. We'll get to some of your video comments as well. While we're talking Chiefs, we'll get to Rick's. As far as Donovan Smith goes, he thinks it would take probably 6 weeks to bring him in. Okay, you got 6 weeks till the playoffs. I'd say, Rick, I still think it's worth. If that was the case and you could bring him in and you knew he was a better option, I'd say do it. Bring him in. Wait 6 weeks. Because it's all about the playoffs anyway. I know the unbeaten stuff is fun. This is all about the postseason. It's all about winning a third Super Bowl. Ken's got thoughts on KU tonight. We'll get to those next. You can call us now. IHOP hotline is back open at 869-1240. Don't go away. Sports Daily coming right back.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Castor, and we are going to give you a chance to win some HTO right now. Let's go with a free iced tea, sweet or unsweet, seasonal peach cobbler available for you right now, and then we'll give you also a free coffee, iced or hot, including the new peppermint mocha just launched, and it is flying off the shelves. We are selling a ton of that. My wife tells me at HTO. So you can win one of each of these. All you got to do right now is text the keyword TEA to the short code 20357. That's T to 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. Good luck, everybody, with that. But get your hands on that. We've also got those Cody Jinks tickets, that giveaway going right now as well. Tommy, you just sent me something. Let's say hello to our friends in Sweden. Goat Lindstrom tells us that he has figured out a way to get Sports Daily in Sweden. Emailed us
on the radio. I mean, you could always stream us worldwide.
Right? No, with an antenna. He's figured out.
He was like listening to the radio. How cool is that?
AM radio, baby. So cool. Thanks, Goat. I hope I'm saying that correctly. My Swedish is not good, but we appreciate you listening to the show. All right, so we'll start with a video comment here, and the IHOP hotline is back open at 869-1240. But let's start with a video comment here from Ken, who says he's looking forward to KU Michigan State hoops tonight. Spartans like to run, so should be another shootout. Maybe one of the teams has a dude that can play offensive tackle for the Chiefs, I'm guessing. Not a bad idea there, Ken. Tommy, I'm kind of liking some bets here on this game. I think we got an opportunity to make some money tonight. I hope. but this should be a fun one. Michigan State, we're taking a stab in the dark. They're 2-0. They've played Monmouth and Niagara so far, but they've scored 81 and 96 points in those games. The over-under right now is 150. I mean, opportunity here. I love this game. I think KU's also only a 5.5 point favorite. I also like that. I like KU. I like the over. There's some player props I like. Maybe Zeke Mayo threes. Like there are some things in this game. I feel like we can put something together and make people a little bit of money here. But I like KU tonight. I like their chances. I think it's a good matchup. Michigan State can always play defense, and Michigan State always has talent. And they're a blue blood, and KU will be tested again here in this game tonight on a neutral court.
You know who I actually really like in this matchup is AJ Storr. He had a really good step forward, I thought, in the North Carolina game on Friday, showed why he was such a valued transfer and somebody that a lot of programs wanted out of the portal last year. And on top of that, he played at Wisconsin. He's familiar with Michigan State. He's played in the Big Ten. He's competed against the Spartans before. So I like AJ Storr in this matchup a lot. I think that he brings a lot of upside to the table. And like I mentioned, to really was able to take that step forward on Friday night offensively. And so he would be a guy that I would look at for sure as somebody that can more than likely deliver in this matchup.
Yeah, it's there are to me as far as like non-betting angles, the big thing for me is Hunter Dickinson's endurance, quite frankly. Like, can he keep up for a full game? Because they kind of need him to. They're going to need him to. And it's been a Friday to Tuesday, a Friday to Tuesday turn. That's pretty normal, right? In a season that many days. So how quickly does he bounce back? Can he, keep up his pace the entire game? And if he can't, are we going to see a Flory Badunga opportunity here to get in against another team like this and maybe do something? Because behind Hunter Dickinson becomes a storyline. Like, what happens behind Hunter Dickinson is going to be a storyline this year.
And I do think that having somebody like Badunga, we talked about it briefly yesterday, that is young and raw and still growing and learning and developing, I think it helps when you're playing competition like North Carolina and Michigan State to start off the season. I mean, you're definitely throwing this guy into the fire to get him acclimated. Is he going to attract the ire of Bill Self at times? Absolutely. He looks like that kind of dude where every once in a while, like when that athleticism is at its peak and when everything is clicking for Flory, you 1000% see that upside. When it's not clicking, he looks like a gazelle on the Serengeti out there a little bit, right? Like, that's just kind of the way that it works with young, tall, lanky freshmen that play for Bill Self. He's going to attract the ire of Bill Self from time to time. It's just going to be a matter of how he works his way through that. And I think that knowing that, really with Dickinson, who looked fatigued at the end of the game, they're going to need Flory. DeJuan Harris also looked tired at the end of the game, too. There was only one starter for Kansas in the Friday night game against North Carolina that eclipsed more than 30 minutes, and that was KJ Adams, who played 37. And so I think the added depth is crucial for Kansas, especially with the pace in which they want to play. And knowing that you've got a couple of veterans on this team that are not fully used to playing that fast and that style under Bill Self, you're going to have that depth.
And they do. And we saw it. It was down to what was the rotation there in the game? 8 guys. Like, we're going to see that. It's something that we didn't really bring up in the North Carolina game is the foul trouble for DeJuan Harris in the second half, which is another thing that to watch. Now, that's not going to happen maybe ever again this season, probably, right? DeJuan Harris getting in foul trouble. But it is something to watch. Basically, what happens between those two quagmires, those cogs, and look, KJ Adams had a great first half against North Carolina. They had no answers for him. So none of these are like, I wouldn't call them like areas of concern. I think they'll all ultimately be areas of strength, quite frankly, for KU. But I do think early on against this level of competition, I think there will be things to take away. Hunter Dickinson his stamina is, I think, a legitimate question throughout the year. Trying trying to think of a nice way to put it. He looked to me like his stamina might be a concern. Like he just seems like maybe he gets in better shape and can work that out over the course of a season. He probably can. But I do think they need some of these bigs to acclimate, and KU needs to find like a rotation or a style or something that if Dickinson does get gassed, and look, he starts every offensive play, right? Like I get it why he gets but it would be nice to see the tinkering now of like, what do things look like with him on the court? How many different ways can KU attack a lineup without him on the court? Who's at 5? Can you play 2 4s? Like all the different things they might be able to do.
I'm not concerned throughout the season about his stamina. I think the conditioning will improve. I mean, they're 2 games into the season.
And he's been hurt.
He's been hurt, but also, a season ago when Dickinson joined the Jayhawks, they didn't get up and down the court like they do right now. That wasn't the style in which they played. They didn't have the personnel to do that. What's interesting is that I feel like that's usually been Bill Self's preferred method and style of basketball, and he hasn't had the dudes recently to be able to do that. He's got it this year, and so it's a different sort of pace from what Dickinson had a season ago in his first year in a KU uniform versus what he currently has this year. I think the conditioning will work itself out. The other question that I have about the game tonight specifically, and I know what you're going to say. I'm going to ask this to you. I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell me that it doesn't ultimately matter, whatever. But I'm curious about this. Will we see Zeke Mayo in the starting lineup tonight? I mean, he led all scorers for KU on Friday night. I think he's earned his way into the starting rotation. I don't know if we're at the point now where Bill Self will put him in there or not, but I certainly think he deserves that.
I'll tell you why it doesn't matter, and you're right, because he's played the second most minutes on the team.
I know it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, from a personnel perspective, I think it'd be nice to have him in the starting rotation.
So you're going to run him out at 2, I'm guessing. So you run Harris, Mayo, Adams, Dickinson, and whoever.
Griffin probably. Yeah.
So three guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. But like when I look at the end of the day, he's played 26 minutes a game, which is more than everybody but KJ Adams. So it doesn't matter part. What matters is he playing starter minutes?
You're right, but it's a fun conversation to have.
It is. It's the only reason the only reason it kind of makes me tick is because of how angry Greg Marshall used to get when he was asked that question about his starting lineups. Because like it doesn't matter. But on the flip side of it, I will say this: Ricky Council for the Shockers under Isaac Brown was negatively impacted by the stubbornness of not putting him in the starting lineup, even though he would play the minutes. Like it bothered him. And so, yeah, I think it could matter. Does it matter for a guy like Zeke Mayo? I would guess not him particularly. But yeah, to the point, I want to know what the main rotation is, right? So is the main rotation with him at 2? Yeah, I do want to see that. And if that means he needs to start to get there, that's fine. But I think he deserves to be one of the guys who plays the most minutes on this team. Absolutely, for sure. Who runs out there at tip-off? I'm not sure yet. I think by the end of it, he will be. I think by the time we get to Big 12 play, yeah, he'll be out there as the 2, based on what we've seen so far. I mean, he's a good fit. He provides a lot of what they need, big time, no question about it. And I think he can acclimate and become a good defender at this level. And it's a step up in competition. But Bill Self does that with all his players. They all get better over time. So, yeah, I think that's worth watching. I do like his props tonight. His points are at 17.5. I'm a little afraid of that. I'll probably go with like points and rebounds at 20, over 20. I don't think you can put his threes in I really like his over 2.5 threes, but I think you got to take that by itself. But I think there's an opportunity to make money with him tonight. Look, Tommy, like if you're Zeke Mayo, you're trying to make a statement right now, right? Like it's statement time for Zeke Mayo more than the other transfers, I think. Why? Because you're coming from South Dakota State. Like you still have the challenge of stepping in and saying, I belong at this level of basketball, athletically, physically, whatever it is. And I think that's why early in this season, we're going to see a lot of Zeke Mayo because he's more than anybody else got something to prove, I think anyway, at least psychologically. So yeah, I like Mayo tonight. I like the over, and I like KU to cover the points. Maybe Michigan State's better. I mean, they haven't played anybody, so it's hard to tell. But yeah, they're always pesky.
Yeah, the only other thing that I would look at, it was a pretty taxing victory on Friday night for the Jayhawks at home, right? And then you turn around, you fly to Atlanta to play in the Champions Classic. They're less than 72 hours removed from that game against North Carolina. Then you hit the road, you go halfway across the country. That fatigue could continue a little bit. I mean, it's not quite like an NCAA tournament turnaround, but you're still super early in the season. So that's one other thing that I would just keep my eyes on is, what does the stamina look like in this particular game just because of the quick turnaround?
That's why I'm off the Dickinson props tonight, because I think his stamina is a challenge right now. Anyway, this is something he can answer the stamina questions like right now if he can come in. And he responded in a huge way after the timeout in that game against North Carolina. But I'll stay away from his props for the reasons you just threw out there. Should be a fun one. 5:30 start, by the way. So be ready for that. 5:30. You gotta make time for it. All right, we're gonna come back. Sports Daily rolling right along on a Tuesday. Good luck in our contest. We're wide open. Conspiracy theorists are proposing, and we had fun with this yesterday too. Prime come to the Cowboys? Huh. We'll explore it next on Sports Daily.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch. 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12.
Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW.
12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Hotline's brought to you by IHOP. Celebrate the weekdays with the new IHOP House Faves. All your favorites, just $6 Monday through Friday. Tommy, there are a lot of people shouting the same thing, that Prime should come to Dallas, coach the Cowboys. And I think everybody's shouting the same thing because it honestly makes a lot of sense in some degree. Dak Prescott's out for the year. Cowboys are an absolute train wreck. Cowboys may end up being in the mix for one of the top picks. I do think Shedeur Sanders is worthy of being selected up in that top 5. Prime has already created, a stir about how he doesn't want him to play for certain teams. We know Prime loves the Cowboys and loves Jerry Jones. It's funny on one hand, but it's possible, I would say, on the other. I would tell you this, and we joked about, conspiracy. I told you that if Jerry Jones is there with Prime, that would never work. Two big personalities like that wouldn't work. However, maybe Jerry Jones steps aside. I told you maybe he and Vince McMahon start an old rich guy reality show. Stephen Jones finally gets promoted. They can get down to business. And in that scenario, yeah, I would say bring in Prime, bring in Shedeur. Let's see. I know. That's why it's a joke. But no, if Jerry and Prime could not work together, I don't think. I don't even know that.
Wouldn't it be fun to watch? It would
probably. Yeah,
be fun to watch.
It would be.
This is on a collision course to happen. And for everything to pan out that way, it was one of the top stories on ESPN yesterday, where the major talking heads were all talking about how Coach Prime should be the next coach of the Cowboys. And what's funny is that's not the first time. I mean, I know going all the way back to even before he went to Colorado, there was speculation that eventually he would end up as the Cowboys head coach. But that was easily dismissed because of where Coach Prime was in his coaching career. right now with what he's done with Colorado, I mean, I've always been a Deion skeptic, at least at Colorado. I thought it was all hype and all flash and no substance. There's substance there. Like really, I'm eating a little bit of crow here because what he's done with Colorado has been super impressive. So this is on a collision course right now with what has happened with Dak, what's happened with Mike McCarthy. Now what's happening with Colorado and Coach Prime and Shedeur and the ascension to being one of the best quarterbacks in college football. This is on a collision course to happen regardless of the big personalities between Jerry Jones and Coach Prime. I think it probably will happen, to be quite honest with you.
I think there's a decent chance. I think if they had a shot at Shedeur, the chances would intensify. For me, it really would come down to, let's say Aaron Rodgers retires and you're the Jets, or really any team that might need a quarterback. Would you be willing to trade a first-round pick for Dak Prescott in his contract at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would, because will Dak win you a Super Bowl? I mean, probably not at this point in his career, but can he be an upgrade from other options for a lot of teams? Yeah, I think he absolutely could be.
Yeah, I think that's what it would come down to for this scenario.
Maybe a change of scenery for Dak could allow him to win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. It's totally on the table. The Cowboys, before this year, have had one of the best offenses in football and won, 12, 10, 11, 12 games a year for a while. But so totally, yes. I would agree. If I'm the Jets and everything's falling apart and I make my coaching change, yeah, if Rodgers is done, I still like my roster to some degree. So, yeah, I'd be willing to do that if I were the Jets or some team desperate enough to feel like you're just that close. So, yeah, look, we're joking about it, but I mean, as a Cowboys fan, if you told me Prime was going to be the next coach, I wouldn't be disappointed. Dude wins everywhere, right? He wins everywhere. He won at one level. He went up to Colorado. Nobody gave him a chance. He wins. He does it. We'll call it this way. He does a better job in year one than people thought he would, bringing around the worst program probably in Division I. Then in year two, and I'm a Prime guy. You guys know that. Even I was like, this isn't going to work. There's too much noise. They're probably going to the Big 12 championship game. And even if they don't, this year will have been successful. And so, look, I'd be fine with it.
I think that, who would be salivating would be the Dallas media. I mean, it's already a circus all the time anyway. But when you get Deion and you get Jerry in the mix, like there could be some success there. There could be a lot of success.
Those two have a great relationship.
Initially, there could be a lot, but it would end in a spectacular fashion at some point. It would be, you think that the Jimmy Johnson ending was bad? Like, this would be of nuclear proportions.
But if it gets him Shedeur Sanders, I'd probably be willing to take that risk because I do think he's good. And I'd be willing to risk that for a couple years, see how it works. Maybe Shadeur's there. At the end of the day, money talks. If he's good enough to earn a contract, I don't think he's going to care if his dad's coaching him. It's interesting. It's funny because it seems like a joke, but I think we can all kind of see like, oh yeah, that could definitely happen. That could totally happen. Jerry's not known to do headline splash high other than Bill Parcells. He's not a splashy. I guess Switzer at the time probably was splashy, so maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe he is. He just hadn't been willing to in a while. We'll say. From Dave Campo to Jason Garrett to Mike McCarthy. It's frustrating. All right. We're going to come back. We'll tell you what's on the network today. Don't go away. Sports Daily wraps up after this.
Getting by making minimum payments with credit card debt reaching all-time highs.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch. 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
That's it for us. You've got regular programming today until 6 o'clock when you get the Chiefs Kingdom show right here on KFH. Certainly a lot to get into with the crazy blocked field goal to win it on Sunday and looking ahead to the Buffalo Bills. Bob and Jeff locally from 2 to 4. Jim Rome follows us before then. Appreciate everybody being here. Thanks to Chiefs Radio Network executive producer Dan Israel for joining us. Big show tomorrow, of course. So be here for it. For Tommy and Jad, I'm Jacob. We'll see you then.